President Obama, Speaker Boehner, and Senator Majority Leader Reid. As you are well aware, these past few years, our deficit has grown to the largest nominal numbers in U.S. history, currently $16.8 trillion and rising. This deficit is something that will one day have to be paid off, and at this rate will be through the economic disparity of my generation and ones to come. This isn't a deficit where we can just print more money or erase some zeros. This is money that the government is going to have to save and raise. Just to get rid of this deficit, every individual in this country would have to pay $50,000. There are two ways the government can pay off its debt, either by increasing taxes and or by reducing government spending. In address to the first approach, President Obama, this year the fiscal cliff in the Affordable Care Act will implement 13 new tax increases, including a top marginal tax rate on investment, and a payroll tax. These combined increases are projected to raise revenue of $150 billion. These tax increases, that will help in reducing the effects of government spending on our debt, will weigh heavily on how the middle class, workers, and our economy can grow under these conditions. The middle class for years has been struggling since the recession of 2007. And though our national GDP has been increasing and jobs have continued to rise, workers entering the workforce have done so at a proportional rate, and our economy has not been able to grow. And compounded with government spending at record highs, having more than doubled from $1.7 trillion in 2000 to currently $3.5 trillion. It's evident that our country is not taking the necessary and sufficient measures to reducing our deficit. Our total spending to GDP ratio has risen to about 42%. And apart from the last few years, we haven't had these high of numbers since the end of World War II. Across the board, government spending in almost every sector has risen for the past 11 years. Though government's role is vital to many parts of the economic functions, including defense, infrastructure, and stimulating the economy and many more, there are cuts that need to be made and more strict regulations to ensure our financial resources are being distributed properly. The sequestration, now in effect after March 1st, plans to cut $1.2 trillion from government spending within the next 11 years. But there's been a lot of remark on these being brash and senseless means of cutting government spending to sectors that are in need of them. The sequestration will be reducing defense next year by 13% and 9% to non-defense programs. And though reducing government spending is an important factor, the sequestration will indiscriminately and evenly cut government spending from sectors. In this way, the sequestration is not an efficient means of reducing our government spending. This government is not frugal with its money, and I believe time needs to be taken to sort through government expenditures such as defense programs that are too expensive, like the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, which is now a $400 billion project that's already 70% over budget and 7 years behind schedule, or subsidies that are being wasted, or unemployment benefits being paid to the wealthy. We need to start taking action now on reducing our deficit and easing the burden on our future generations. This is not a task we can immediately accomplish, but it's a process that has to be done. Among others, the spending cuts of the sequestration are not an efficient means of reducing our deficit. So I implore you to start taking action and working together to reduce and come up with ways that will help the generation of tomorrow.